Hello there YouTube, it's Legit Jenkins here bringing you my reflection on Resident Evil 3 Remake. If you do enjoy the content, give it a like, comment down below and sub to the channel. From this point on, minor spoilers will be ahead, but you do have yet to play the game, or you don't want to be spoiled, don't go any further in the video. However, there will be a timestamp in the description for my closing thoughts, which will be spoiler free. If you do want to see what I really think about the game, you can skip that bit. So Resident Evil 3 was my favourite out of the original trilogy, purely for the fact that I think it was the first one that I ever actually played. I love the danger, the survivalist nature, and of course the puzzles were racking my brain with it. So I was excited when I heard that Resident Evil 3 was the next in line for the remake treatment. Of course, the thought of Raccoon City, reimagined in stunning detail, glorious graphics. Not only the graphics as well, the characters were reimagined and fleshed out to fit the 2020 game aspect. And building on the characters from the original Resident Evil 3 as well, they're now a lot more believable than they were before. This Jill, you can see how the effects of the Arclay Mountains of Resident Evil 1 has affected her, how she acts first meets UBCS agent Carlos. Speaking of Carlos, the original Carlos, I hated him. He always felt a little bit tacked in and thrown in for the sake of the game. But in this version of the game, he seems to have a purpose, and he gradually grows as a character and grows on you too. It is for sure a bumpy ride of a game though, enjoyable but bumpy. Whilst a lot of people will notice that a bunch has been removed from the original, making this meal not just feel short but actually be shorter. But as with all Resident Evils, they do promote replayability, which adds to that game time. Hardcore mode adding a touch of difficulty, and Nightmare Inferno mode changing where enemies will spawn, and even having completely different enemies spawning and where they wouldn't before. However, is that really enough to fully sate people's hungers? On standard difficulty, my first run through the game took just less than 5 hours, and I will admit the game does feel short in a sense, but the game doesn't actually feel like the flow of the game doesn't feel diminished too much despite this. As I said, there is a bunch of the original content missing from the 1999 Resident Evil 3 Nemesis, such as exploring the clock tower, the park, and even the gravedigger. They filled these gaps with new content not seen before by filling in gaps and bridging gaps as well between Resident Evil 2 and Resident Evil 3. And as I said, a lot of these tie-ins, they do take place in Carlos' segments of the game during his run at the RCPD. It does partly keep the horror and tension of the original as well, this game, but making you think before you round a corner, thinking, is there going to be an enemy or is something going to jump out at me? However, while Nemesis in the original could be a real pain in the backside, in the remake most of his encounters are scripted, and even when he comes in for the chase, it's only after certain points of the story are completed. So, for the most part, you really don't have much to worry from him, honestly. Whilst Mr. X in the RE2 Remake was more of a nuisance than anything, with Nemesis they thought on that. You can beat him, and not just stun him slightly to run away, you can actually knock him down so he doesn't chase you for a little bit of time. And not only that, he also drops the rewards like he did in the original game. Giving you that whole risk versus reward. Do I use up X amount of bullets or a grenade that I'm going to need later? Or do I just run away from him? My honest view on the game though, it's a poor remake as far as remakes go. Adding things but taking out large chunks of gameplay and features, so it feels more like it's one step forward, 2 steps back. But as a standalone game, it's definitely enjoyable. The story is solid, the gameplay is engaging and fast paced. It's a far cry from what the original RE3 Nemesis, but we're never going to get that, but better graphics. I mean, Resident Evil 2 Remake kind of showed us this. I would recommend playing this game, however put your expectations of Faithful Remake aside if you really do want to fully enjoy this game. I've been Legit Jenkins. If you have enjoyed the video, smash that like button, comment down below your thoughts and feelings of the Resident Evil 3 Remake, and sub to the channel. I'm live every Monday, Wednesday and Friday, 7 PM GMT, over at twitch.tv. Catch you next time. Goodbye.